Okay, this video is our first video on transformations. Now, a transformation is just a way of moving or changing an object. Moving or changing an object. And there are four types of transformations that we're going to look at in geometry. There's the translation, the reflection, the rotation, and the dilation. Now in this video we're going to be looking specifically at the first of these types of transformations called a translation. And a translation just means sliding an object, and specifically it means sliding an object without turning it. So for example, let's say I had an object, a four-sided figure, a quadrilateral, and let's say that was drawn on my paper. If I slide this object to the left, down, to the right, down, anywhere I slide this on my paper, as long as I don't turn the object, as long as it keeps the same orientation as when it started, this is a translation. I'm just sliding this object around my paper. Left, right, up, down. This is called a translation. So in the example you see in your notes, we're going to take a look at translations in a slightly more formal way. And in particular, it says in your notes, given triangle ABC, translate triangle ABC left 4 units and up 1 unit. Well, we're going to look at this translation in 3 different ways. We're going to look at it in terms of a graph, so an actual picture of what this translation is going to look like. Then we're going to look at it using vertex matrices, and then we're going to look at it using something called the algebraic rule or the arrow rule. So first let's take a look at what a graph of this translation is going to look like. So we've got this triangle ABC, and I'm given the coordinates of my 3 vertices. So the coordinate of point A is -1, 1, and B is 2, 4, and C is 4, 1. And I want to translate this object, that is, I want to slide it to the left 4 units and up 1 unit. So I'm going to go 4 units to the left and 1 unit up. Well, I'm going to take each one of my vertex points in order, and for each one of those points, I'm going to move each point left 4 units and up 1 unit. So let me start with point A here, vertex A. If I go left 4 units, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1 unit, that's going to put my new point A right here. So I slide point A, left 4, up 1, and let's call this new point A prime. So the coordinates of my new point, after I move it left 4 and up 1, are going to be, let's say, 1, 2, 3. It's going to be -5 and up 1, -5 and 2. So those are the coordinates of my new point A prime. All right, B, I want to go left 4 and up 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1. That's going to put my new point B prime at -2, 2, 3, 4, -2, 5. Okay, C, left 4 and up 1. So C is going to go left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to move it over here to the y-axis. Up 1 is going to put it right here at the point, let's see, this is going to be C prime, and that's going to be the point 0, 2. So now I have my 3 translated vertices. Let me just connect these up. And here is what my translated figure looks like. Here's my original triangle. I moved it left 4 and up 1. That's what my translated image looks like, my translated triangle. Well, that's how this translation looks if I do it graphically. Let's take a look at how it's going to look if I do it using vertex matrices. Now remember, a vertex matrix, it has two rows. The top row is going to be all of the x coordinates. The bottom row is going to be all of the y coordinates. And each one of my columns is going to represent one of the vertices of my figure. So for this vertex matrix, this is going to be the vertex matrix for my original figure. We're going to call this the original image. So the coordinates of the vertices of my original image, I've got them right here. Point A, let's see, this would be point A, point B, and point C. Point A is -1, 1. So -1, 1. Point B is 2, 4. And point C is 4, 1. Now I want to translate this image into my new image, my translated image. So I want to write a new matrix in which I've got the coordinates of my translated image. Well, I have those coordinates right here. A prime, this is going to be A prime, B prime, and C prime. The coordinates of A prime are -5 and 2, B prime, -2 and 5, and C prime, 0, 2. So here's how I would represent this translation using vertex matrices. Now finally, I have one more way that I want to represent this translation, and that's using something we call the algebraic rule or the arrow rule. Now you may have noticed when you look at this translation with the vertex matrices, notice that all of my x-coordinates, to change my original x-coordinates into my translated x-coordinates, notice that since we are sliding our image to the left 4 units, that means that all of my x-coordinates, they move to the left. When they move to the left 4 units, that's equivalent to subtracting 4 from each one of my x-coordinates. So if I take -1 and subtract 4, that gives me -5. 2 minus 4 is -2. 4 minus 4 is 0. So moving to the left 4 means subtracting 4 from my x-coordinate. Well, in the same way, if I move up 1 unit, that means all of my y-coordinates increase by 1 unit. Or I add 1 to each one of my y-coordinates. 1 plus 1 is 2, 4 plus 1 is 5, and 1 plus 1 is 2. Well, the way we write this using what we call the algebraic rule is we start with our original coordinates. So if my original coordinates, I have an x-coordinate and a y-coordinate, the way I translate these original coordinates into my translated coordinates, or my new coordinates. These new coordinates, in order to get my new x-coordinates, I just subtract 4 from my original x-coordinates. So that would look like x minus 4. And in order to get my new y-coordinates, I just add 1 to my original y-coordinates. So my algebraic rule, or my arrow rule, for this particular translation would look like this. X, y, and then the arrow, x minus 4, comma, y plus 1. Now, on the back page of your notes, you've got another example in which I ask you to perform another translation. Again, starting with this same triangle here, triangle ABC, I ask you to perform another translation in which you move it to the right 2 units and down 3 units. And I'm going to leave this part, it's example 1 on the back of your notes, I'm going to leave this one for you to do this translation both graphically and then come up with the vertex matrices and then come up with the arrow rule. And we will take a look at this example tomorrow in class.